Namaste, everybody. Namaste, namaste. But thank you for your lovely words and your words of encouragement. You know, it's wonderful to feel that your words, my words, make a difference, and that is really my dream all my life. That's what I wanted to do: make a difference, to help people to lighten up, to laugh more, to enjoy this life, to live it and not be drowned in the drudgery of their minds. And so when I see that it does help, it just encourages me more to share more. So thank you for your comments. And the subject matter was the importance of having a spiritual master. Wow. You know, when I saw that subject, and it really made me think back on my old days. You know, I came from a very spiritual father, a very religious mother. My mother was very Hindu. My father was very spiritual, the difference being spirituals working from the point of view that the divine is everywhere. My mother more or less just saw it in her religion, as many people do. So, and then after that, I went to a Catholic school, which I loved. I had wonderful nuns, wonderful. They were singing, and I never forget Sister Santa Maria singing a beautiful song called The Spirit of God, you know, in the clear running water, blowing to safety the trees on the hill. Spirit of God in the finger of morning, fill this earth, bring it to birth, and blow where you will. Blow, blow, blow till I be but the breath of the Spirit blowing in me. And I love this line, but the breath of the Spirit. And I just felt, I want to know God. I thought I did, but I was very confused by all the different aspects that were presented to me, and I loved them all. And you know, when I went to the Catholic school, they said it's the only way, and I love Lord Jesus so much, and I just felt it couldn't be the only way. How can anything be the only way? If this God is love, how can it be the only way? And by the way, what is divine anyway? What is consciousness? I was asking these questions, went on to university, and really carried on with the same questions in my heart. What is life all about? Where is it taking me? Where am I going? I think all of us ask these questions. What is our mission? Is there a God? Isn't there a God? What are we meant to do in this life? So I took the subjects that I hoped would help me find these answers, which was fine arts with music, drama, sculpture, painting. What they did for me, they were great teachers, because what I learned is that when I was being creative in university, I was painting and sculpting and acting and singing. Never had a very good voice, but I played the guitar for a little while. And that I felt really great while I was creating, that I felt a connection with this energy. I felt alive when I was studying. I felt awake. I felt, oh my God, this is just what I want to do for the rest of my life. And so the fine arts showed me that. The philosophy was another matter. I studied people like John Locke, Cicero, Socrates, Plato, and that also got me in another jam. You know, John Locke was saying a chair is not a chair, it's full of energy. And of course, those days in the 70s, you didn't hear that language, but now you do. We're all consciousness, and you hear this language much more. So, and then the philosophers that believed there was no divine, and others that confirmed this divine. So I carried on thinking, yes, I do believe in a force. I know there is a force. I know. How do I know? I just knew it. But I couldn't quantify it, and I couldn't describe it, and I wanted to know more. Anyway, got married young, moved countries, went through a lot of difficulties in my life. And, you know, I thought my father and my mother had given me prayer, had given me God. I was brought up in a household where every morning we would pray before we would start, you know. May we have a good day, may we see good in everyone, and all this kind of thing. But still, and when I was going through difficult times, I was angry, I was agitated. Where was this art God that I'd found in creation? No matter what I tried to create, because I did start a dance school and I did do other things, run fashion shows and design clothes, but it's still, there was an emptiness. There was a kind of emptiness. I said, I'm doing all this and I'm still not full. Maybe there isn't a God. And, I thought, and all my life I thought, I don't need a teacher for this. This is spiritual stuff. I know it. I'm giving you this background because I think it's really important to answer this question, the importance of having a spiritual master, because I thought I didn't need one. Then, of course, at the age of 33, I went through a mental crisis, and I asked, I said, if there is a God, show your face, because otherwise I'm not going to believe in you and I'm not going to be good. I have to laugh because I remember that prayer so strongly. I thought I was good at that time. I didn't even know the meaning of good. I didn't even know the meaning of good, which I was later to discover in my journey of the soul. So next day, I hadn't seen Swami Satchidananda since I was married. He came to my wedding in Hong Kong. Now, he was my family's guru. He used to come every year, teach us yoga classes, and we loved him. I looked upon him as a grandfather, and all the children loved him. We hugged him. He was just so easy to get to. He wasn't like all the other masters I had met that were kind of like, don't touch me, don't get near, always a distance and always looking down at you. Anyway, the very next day I get a phone call. Nani, I'm going to Switzerland, to Zenal, to give a peace conference. Can I come to see you? And of course, I've told this story so many times, but it's really very important because all the scriptures say when the student is ready, the master appears. So he came to my life and he visited for a week, and that week changed my life dramatically. And that's when I realized I do need a teacher. I do need a spiritual teacher. I had a lot of information in my head. I had read books on philosophy, psychology, religions, all different traditions, but it was all working from my intellect from here. And I was trying to decipher all this material. And of course, I hadn't realized that I had built such a crust around my heart and my soul that I couldn't even see my own inner light. So what changed me in that week? It was when he landed at the airport and my husband and I went to pick him up. I think my soul was starving. It was starving for some kind of truth, some kind of reality, some kind of sign that there is more. I really cannot explain what that more, but I think most of you know what I mean. There was more. And when my master entered that airport and got into the car, I just felt a warmth engulf me. I felt suddenly safe, and I couldn't put it in words because I just felt it. It was just an energy. It was an energy that I was starving for. And something in my heart just felt, wow, where did all that tension go? Where did all the tension go? And that's how I felt that whole week. And I'd like to read to you to explain, if I can, in a very simple way, what actually happened. I will read something from the Upanishads for you, which is really what goes on when we have a spiritual teacher. Fire is not seen until one fire stick rubs against another. Can you imagine that? You know, how you make fire for a camping, if you're on a camping trip, you need 2 pieces of firewood. Though the fire remains hidden in the stick. So when you see 2 sticks, you won't think of fire. But if you rub them together, then the fire will be created. So the stick has the potential of creating fire. So does the Lord remain hidden in the body until it is revealed through the mystic mantra. Let your body be the lower fire stick. Let the mantra be the upper. Rub them against each other in meditation and realize the consciousness and realize who you are. And that's what happened with a spiritual teacher. You see, we need teachers for everything. You want to learn something. When I wanted to learn how to sculpture, I had a brilliant professor, Dr. Yankai, who taught me how to sculpture, how to use the knives, how to put it in a kiln, how to color it, how to put gold leaf on it, and how to put it on a base of wood, etc. So we need a teacher for things in life. And I don't know why I was denying myself for so many years, thinking I knew it all. I know it all. I don't need a teacher. But I think for anything you want to really learn in life and be good at it, you need a teacher. But a spiritual teacher is a little different in the sense that just their aura, just their glow, just their energy, just their field already, like those 2 fire sticks, light something up. And this is what happened to me. It lit something in me that was there hidden by this dark crust, this carbon over maybe years of being disappointed and going through some great pains in my life and suffering. And it had become so crusted that I could not, no matter how much I read books on meditation, I read books on Krishnamurti, I read books on Ram Dass, I read books about everyone, but I still couldn't get that I got from my master. And I didn't read any book while I was in his energy field. That to me was saying everything. That spirit is energy, it's consciousness, it's beyond our mind. How you recognize is for me an experience of the heart, and it comes into the heart space, and that's how I could recognize it, because the feeling was beyond the love of I love you and you love me. It was something greater that filled my soul. So hence started the journey, the spiritual journey, the journey that we all going through, the seeking. And once I had my master, actually after that first trip to Gibraltar, I have to be truthful, I had a vision. And some of you know this story already, but I'll tell it. I had a vision. He was giving a talk at a hall in Gibraltar called John Mackintosh Hall. And while he was speaking, we had an audience of about 150 in the hall. And while he was speaking, I literally saw his face change in front of me. I saw Lord Jesus, I saw Krishna, I saw Shiva, I saw Buddha. I saw it. And I thought, oh, Nelly, you are definitely going crazy. Look at my dark skin. It turned pale. And my husband looked at me, nudged me, what's wrong? I said, pinch me. So he pinched me. I thought, what's going on? And then I saw it again. This vision repeated. And I asked him to pinch me again. So after that talk, I actually went to his secretary the next day. And I said, Prem, something really freaky happened to me last night. But it was real. It wasn't like I was imagining or sleeping. I was wide awake. I was not expecting anything, and this is what I saw. And she said to me, oh, Nelanie, you're not the only one. A few people, a couple of his disciples, told me they saw the same vision. So I felt, oh my God, so I'm not imagining it. I was so happy. So the very next day, I went to my master and I said, you know, all these years I've been saying I don't need a spiritual teacher. My father taught me enough. My mom taught me enough. But I do, because I really don't know anything. All I've learned is intellectual. I haven't understood spirit or soul. And so he said, of course, I will be your master and I will guide you. And he said, just to start meditating. So anyway, he left and immediately I started meditating. And of course, initially, there is so much gross in the mind. You know, simple things like, oh, I had an argument with my husband. Oh, I want a house. Oh, why is my life so... All this, what I call today, I don't even know where my mind was I was so engrossed in the outside world and the material world that I really, even with all the studying of these books, these great spiritual books, I couldn't get to my soul. I couldn't. But when I connected with my master, it was almost like he gave me a radio station. I could tune in. And of course, after a few weeks of meditating, I felt tuned in. I felt a connection, even though he was in America and I was in Gibraltar. There was a heart connection, and I could feel physically that energy guiding me. Even in that short week we were together. And then the next thing I know, I called him after a month and I said, I want to know more. I want to know more. I want to learn. I want to grow. And I didn't know then what he did for me was so exceptional. Every month he would send me, in those days, a cassette. That's all we had in those days. Tape of the month. And every month he would tell the ashram to send me this as a gift. And it was the best gift he sent me, because I listened to that one tape every day, the same tape, for 30 days till I got the next tape. And every time I heard that same talk, I heard something different. So I realized the content of my mind couldn't grasp everything in the 1 hour talk or 45-minute talk. I realized it was these talks were helping me, but the only way I could really grasp it is to live it. So this is when I started to change my thought pattern. I realized that healing can only be done with ourselves. Nobody can really heal us. No, I think I saw that because my master was so far away, and he gave me those one-liners that did teach me on the phone or those wonderful cassettes. But he taught me the most important thing. He taught me to look within myself. He taught me the importance of our thought patterns. Purify the mind, he said. So thought patterns. And I could see the patterns were stuck from old thinking, you're not good enough, or I'm from the Catholic school, original sin, we are born with guilt, all this was stuck, and then God punishes. Rubbish. I had to get through all this gross stuff, which took a few years. As you know, I've often told you, I didn't even want to teach. I just wanted to grow. In the first 5 years, I was working on my own self-healing, because I learned one thing being an asthmatic, that 90% of my asthma was better because of my change of my state of mind. And now we all know this. Now science has proven this. It was psychosomatic. I mean, the 10% I was born with, or maybe even less, I don't know. And it doesn't really, any of it doesn't matter anymore, because that is not what is important. But I realized how important my thoughts were and how they affected my body. And that was scary. And then I also learned that a part of it wanted to still be attached to that illness for maybe attention. And then I looked into my life, and this is how you self-heal, right? And this is the importance of the master giving you that material. You take home, you grasp it, the energy which awakens the light in you, and then you work on yourself. And so I go back into my childhood automatically, not that I even tried. Maybe my psychology background helped me a lot. I went back to my childhood, and of course, being the fifth child, after my mom had one after the other, and then also my mother was very sick after I was born. I was a very sick child. I was born not breathing, so I didn't have a lot of attention, except for my elder sister, who always gave me a lot of attention. But I think that from there it started that I wasn't wanted and I wasn't good enough. I know my mother suffered a lot during her pregnancy with me. She had terrible back pains, and I think perhaps my womb, I probably got that message, and I started to understand that, wow, thank God that I was brought up feeling that way, because it brought me to where I understood myself so many years later. And that was very exciting for me, because it is through that learning I realized that illness was really my gift. It taught me about my mind, and it taught me about my energy fields. It taught me about how important it was to connect with the divine. And when I was in a state of love, kindness, goodness, joy, peace, I felt connected. And when I was in anger, stress, irritation, I was breaking this connection. And of course, the first few years are very difficult, because we have all these old vasanas, these old habits, these old things that we need to unlock and change and forgive and let go. And I did it. My greatest gift was learning to forgive myself, forgiving everybody else. And the second greatest gift my master gave me, and this is, it was so important to me when, I've told this story many times about when I went to the church in Rwanda, and he said to me, "How dare you call yourself a sinner? How dare you? Don't you understand you're a child of God? You're a child of the universe." And I felt something, boom, unlock in my soul. And then another time, as I was progressing and as I was growing inwards, I remember calling him and said, "Gurudev, please, can I do more pranayama? Can I do more practices? Can I do more this, more doing?" My ego was getting expanded. And he goes, "No, do what you're doing." And my ego, horrible. It was getting, why my guru doesn't want me to learn more? Why doesn't my guru want to give me more stuff to do? You see, this was more gross, more crazy thinking. He was actually giving me the best thing. Learn, grow by yourself. Life will teach you. And then what happened was, of course, when you start meditating, you start developing certain gifts. And Sri Patanjali tells us in book 3, this happens. So then I remember I was still working in the shop, and somebody had a huge lump in her hand. It was arthritic, and there I was putting my hand on her and going, "Oh, I'll heal it." And the next day she came, "Oh, the lump's gone," and I thought I was something special. And then another time somebody hadn't been pregnant for months, and I did a mantra and she got pregnant, and another one got pregnant. And I don't do those things, by the way. It was just their belief system. It's a higher force that does those things. But if those people need it, they will get it. I'm just an instrument, which is what I learned. But at that time, I thought it was me. So I happened to go on a trip to America to see my guru, because I had learned he was old, and he was getting older. He was around 80, 78, 80 at that time. And I said, I want to spend as much time as with this energy field, because when I'm in it, everything is so clear. Everything is so clear. It's like I know it all. And then when I leave it, I'm lost again. So that's why having a spiritual teacher for me was so important. It was so important. So anyway, I went there. And I was telling his secretary, Prem, again, the same thing, Prem, look, I did this, that. So Gurudev invited me for lunch. The guru knows. And she was telling him, oh, Guru, look at Nalini. She's grown so much and she can do all these things. And then, good. And then after lunch, he stood up. Oh, Nalini, I've got a stomach ache. Can you heal me? And then I put my hand like this on his stomach. And then I went, oh, what on earth am I doing? How can I heal the master? I just thought, I saw what was happening to me. And I just bowed at his feet and I said, look, I think I just lost it. And he laughed and he said, you're just the instrument. You're just the instrument. Don't get caught in the ego. Don't get caught in the ego. And so after that, I said, I'm not going to get caught in the ego, because I also learned when I was counseling people, yes, you can heal them for a little while, but it's borrowed energy. They borrow my energy, which is great. I'm so happy to give it. But because it's not mine, I can give it and let it go. But unfortunately, unless they don't learn to harness it for themselves, it doesn't stay there. So I feel the best thing I can do, and this is what I learned from my master, thank you, Swami Satchidananda, is the best thing you can give them is the healing knowledge of yoga. And wow, that to me was, well, if I can give you that, then you can heal yourself. Like I had to work on myself. The problem today is, because there's so much information out there, so much information, people keep dabbling in too much stuff. Looking at one video and another video and another video, and one says this and one says that and one says that. And that's another thing I learned from my master. In the early days, I was like grabbing every single book, and the chakras explained by the Buddhists this way, by this one this way, by Anadiya Judith this way, and by another one this way. I called Gurudev one day and I said, Gurudev, they're all got different viewpoints on it. And he said, stop reading. Stop reading, Nalini, at least for 6 months, and make your life the book to study. So I did that. I actually did that. And he did say that to me, which is great. He said, you're a very good student. He said, when I give you instruction, you follow right away. And I felt really happy that he thought I was a really good student, and made me feel like, okay, I can do this now. I can really do this now. And this is one thing I learned, and I see people do it. Something is working for them. It is working. And then somebody else will tell them something else, and they'll look at somewhere else, somewhere else, somewhere else, somewhere else, constantly grasping at straws. Yes, learn from people. People have a lot to teach, but then work on yourself. It's not going to happen overnight. You've got to have the will, the strong will. This is what we're given, the willpower. You really have to want peace so badly, like I did, and I wanted to know God badly, and my version of God is so different. I mean, and I know this great consciousness lives in all of us now, and I thank my master for that, because he kept saying, look for the guru within. Then I heard my other master, Lord Jesus, the kingdom of heaven is within. Then Buddha, meditate and see the lotus within your very own heart. And, and then Sufis and Khalil Gibran and learning the yamas and niyamas and all this I needed, you see, prior to having my spiritual master. My knowledge was everywhere. It was just like crazy. I didn't really understand. I understood. I didn't understand. There was much confusion in the mind. After having a spiritual master, after going through the first real 5 years of working on myself and growing and learning, I really learned after that through teaching, which I didn't really plan to do, but my master kept calling me for 1 year after 5 years of working on myself. Nalini, it's time to teach. oh, Gurudev, I'm not a teacher, I don't know anything. After going all those experiences with him, I really knew nothing, and I wanted to really grow. And all my life I was teaching dance, teaching this, working in a shop, always teaching and working. I just wanted to learn. And he called me the whole year until I had a dream. I'll never forget it, on December, just before Christmas. In the dream, I was being told up by this beautiful angel that the reason why I didn't want to teach is because I was selfish. I didn't want the responsibility. And I said, okay, that's enough. That dream is too vivid. And then I booked a room, and I thought nobody would come. But 12 people came, and I never stopped teaching from that week. I promised, I made a deal with God. If they didn't come back after the first time, I don't have to teach. But more people came, and it just grew to what we have today. But all this would not have happened, this mission, my mission in life, understanding it, also understanding that I'm part of this universe. I'm an atom in what I call the body of the divine consciousness or grace. I'm just one small tiny atom, and I have learned that each one of us are tiny atoms in this great consciousness called divine grace. And when these atoms are sick emotionally, physically, we affect this consciousness. We are all connected, and this is what I have learned through my guru, because I felt that personal, the 2 fire sticks that lit the fire within me. Without him, without my spiritual master, I don't think I would have been able to awaken that fire. And now I can, anytime. But it's been like so many years of work and journeying, and I still have a lot to do and a lot to learn. I no longer have him in a physical form, but his words, his teachings, the lessons I learned from the brilliant master live within me. They become part of my consciousness. I hear his voice, guiding me consciously. And now it's not only his voice that I hear it from nature. Nature talks to me. I hear it from other people. I can see when I need something. It will be a patient who will teach me, or a partner who will show me, or even cooking will teach me something. I find now, life is a teacher. And the importance of having my teacher was to teach me that all life was a teacher. If I hadn't had that, I think my mind would still be very confused and all over the place. My master made it very simple. Do good, be good. Whoa, I love those words. Simple, not complicated. Love all, serve all, not complicated. Love yourself as well. You have no right to put yourself down, because you're one of those atoms in the divine body. How dare you not look after yourself? So start to look after yourself. Do some yoga, do some exercise, eat well, eat the right foods, look after your physical body. I started to realize that this gift of the body, as St. Paul calls it, the temple, was such a great gift for my soul journey. I chose this body, I chose this life, and I would have never understood all these concepts if it wasn't for my spiritual master. So I feel deeply in my heart indebted to this teaching, and it was very important to me. And it was very important to me also because in the spiritual path there is a great danger. Nowadays people learn a little spirituality and they already think they know it all. And this to me is quite scary, I remember people would tell me, they take 2 weekend courses and now they're masters. And how can you be a master of anything in 2 weekends? So this to me is a little scary. I think we're all healers inside. I believe the divine is in all of us. And I believe we need our journey on this earth, our mission is to awaken it so we can be who we are beautifully, in the best way we can. Even my house is called Casa Bella Vida, a beautiful life. And it means that a beautiful life is to live it. It's not to impress anyone, or it's just to live it for the sake of living it, for the sake of this divine consciousness. I owe it to you to bring the light out in me. I owe it to you because you gave me this ability. And all of us have been given this light. All of us. But sometimes, like I said, we're so encrusted in this darkness that we don't believe it. So we don't do the work. We're always expecting somebody else to do the work for us. So the work is getting the knowledge and then helping yourself by unraveling the state of your mind, unraveling your emotions, understanding what triggers you. You know, this is where my psychology background came into use as well. What triggers me? Attachment is a great one, you know. Don't be attached to anything. Nothing is ours. So my master used to say, nothing is yours and everything is yours. Okay, that's really a paradox. And now I've understood that. While I'm here, everything is in mine, but they don't belong to me. So I'm going to love it, enjoy it, work in it, thank it every single day. But I also know that tomorrow it could all not be mine. I know also that this body will be gone. This is really exciting news for me. And to be comfortable with that thought, you know, to understand the mantra, Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityomaha Ambratam Gamaya. Lead us from unreal to real. Lead us from darkness to the light. Lead us from the fear of death to the knowledge of immortality. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. To understand that totally and fully. To understand my mission here on earth. To understand. And this is why I encourage, this is why I love teaching the Yoga Sutras of Sri Patanjali, because when I studied that, there was the book of science. It's a book of science. For me, it was try this, if this doesn't work, try this, and this doesn't work. And it also taught me that, you know, all the paths, as my master taught us, truth is one, paths are many, acceptance of differences, so much to learn, so much to grow. Just in his teaching alone, there was enough. You know, I read the odd great masters after that. You know, Swami Rama of the Himalayas, Paramahansa Yogananda, Ramakrishna. Well, there's so many great masters, but really everything I needed to learn was in To Know Yourself Beyond Words, the Living Gita, and the Yoga Sutras of Sri Patanjali, which are all by Swami Satchidananda. There was so much in there, and it was made so simple. This is what I loved. I think today, everybody is trying to complicate the knowledge so much by giving us so many different aspects. Yes, of course, it's neuroscience. 100% is neuroscience. But the yogis always said that. Yes, it's chakra. 100% is chakras. But you don't need to do all that work. You just need to unravel your emotions, do some pranayama, raise your energy level to your pineal gland, to your third eye. Connect with that energy. Know that you are connecting, and that is your goal. That's it. It's quite simple. Now we complicate it with so many practices that by the end of it we're left exhausted because we're not healed, and we're saying, why aren't we healed? But really the simple healing, as my master showed me, is as you think, so you become. So watch the thoughts, watch your desires. You are what your deep driving desire is. As your desire is, will be your will. As your will be your life and your destiny. So watch what your desire is. So I watched my desire, because my master said something so clear that I repeat every week practically: make peace your God. Do not even allow God to disturb your peace. And that was my goal. That's it. That's it. Only have one boss. So when people tell me how to think and what to think, I just go, no use to debate, because then no use. They believe what they believe, but I know what I know. And this for me was so wonderful as a Gemini who loves to learn and who loves to go everywhere. I became extremely steady. And I became extremely steady. I knew what I knew, I wanted, and I had a master to guided me throughout my journey with the one-liners. I mean, there's so many one-liners I could tell you about, but really what I wanted you to express to you was, because somebody asked for this subject, was how important it was for me. And I feel my life so enriched that I'm constantly in touch with the divine. When I lose it, I also know when I lose it. I admit it right away. I love truthfulness. I am very honest to myself. I'm very straightforward to myself. And it's just really important to be honest about it. I think the problem is, without the master, I may not have been so blessed to understand that humility is really the way. He taught me humility is the way. And I just see so many people now with spiritual knowledge, and they want to control people, and they become so egotistical, and it's all about that. And I think it's nothing to do with that. I think it's really, we're all spiritual. Just wake up, get in touch with your consciousness, light that fire within you. The divine is within all of us. And I know that now. And self-healing, learn to, that's where all the yoga science comes in, the hatha yoga, the breathing, the mudras, the bandhas, bits and pieces that can help you to move, to heal yourself. But most of all, watch your thoughts. You are what you think. Watch your thoughts. What are your desires? Watch your desires. What are you attached to? Why are you attached to it? The more you attach yourself to something, even your personal fear, the more you attach to your personal fear, the more it will grow. So how do you do this? Make fear your friend. Okay, fear you, like I made asthma my friend. Thank God you came to my life. Without you, I wouldn't be where I am. Thank God I didn't get much attention as a child, because I didn't get much attention and I was considered quite ugly. I focused on studying and learning. I love it, and you look at your life and there's nothing that goes wrong, and everything that's gone right for me to be here today. And I think when we all look at our lives, we learn that. So on that note, I could speak on this subject for hours, because having my master and wonderful experiences of connecting to a force that I cannot even describe or talk about, because it's everywhere, is hard. But wow, that's all I can say. Wow, and I think everybody should feel wow in their lives, and that's why I love doing what I'm doing. Everybody should feel wow, those moments of bliss, those moments of connection, because I believe that's why we have a human body, to have those great blissful moments, and no, that is the dross of the mind that separates us, nothing else. So learn to love yourself a little bit more, learn to trust and light in, have a good set of morals. I think studying yama niyama, good set of morals, is really good grounding. And simply, live it. As my master said, he made it so simple. Live a peaceful, easeful, and useful life. The rest is mind stuff. Separation happens to us all. We all lose people. People die. It happens to everyone. We lose things. We lose money. We lose homes. It's happened to me so many times. big deal. I haven't lost my soul. Big deal. I'm still here, and look what I got. So much loss, so much gain, so much. It's fun. Now you get used to it. You know, after a while, you get tough. You get strong. The will gets stronger. And I'm so grateful for all that losing and all that going wrong, because I wouldn't be where I am now. And with all my patients that I see, I do see that their pain has brought them to much gain. So how can we be sad about something that has brought so many to such gain? You know, even just a little recognition, even in that moment, can change your entire life. You just have to be open to it. And I think that recognition in my master woke that light in me, and that's all it needed. And then the training over the years.